This is part 22 of our Link's Awakening walkthrough, and in this video, we're finally going to be finishing up the trading sequence that has dominated our time.
It's been taking forever.
I feel like between every dungeon, we're trading.
Well, we have gotten a trade sequence, I think, between every single dungeon.
At least one or two.
I would say we have.
And then we're also going to buy the bow, so we're actually kind of loading up on long-range
This is really a great walkthrough part right here. Like, we really get a lot of helpful items in this walkthrough.
And man, I will tell you what, once we get that...
So you should watch this video 2 or 3 times.
Definitely.
Just to make sure you do it right.
Just to make sure you get everything you need to. But it would have been nice to have the bow before going into Catfish Maw there. I mean, we kind of mentioned in our Catfish Maw videos about fighting the mini-boss and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's really optional.
You really don't need it, I mean, for that point. And like I said, what we talked about in the last walkthrough, I can't remember if you ever need it in this game, really.
Not that I can think of off the top of my head.
Because usually there's something like, in a lot of Zelda games, there's been like where you shoot like an eye to, do whatever. And I don't remember any of that in this game.
Plus, and you kind of hit on this a little bit in Catfish Maw, though, normally we get the bow in a dungeon. You're forced to get it.
And that's why I didn't buy it for the longest time. Like I said, like, I was just going through and like it was 980 rupees. I was like, oh, well, that's what they do. Zelda jacks up the prices and you buy something, and then you, like, a dungeon later, get in a dungeon, you're like, oh crap, I could have got it for free. And I thought for the longest time, that was the way it was going to be.
Yeah. I really liked, finally, we've seen that mermaid statue a few times in these walkthroughs.
Yeah, it's a teaser, man.
I finally liked being able to get down there, and it actually served a purpose.
It was a teaser the whole game for me. Because I didn't finish the trade sequence. Actually, I might have cheated, to be honest with you. Because I think I was like, I heard the Boomerang, and this is one shocking thing. We'll be finished at the trade sequence in this walkthrough and begin the Boomerang, and we'll talk about it more at that time, but it's just awesome.
It is. But it's just nice to finally do something with that stupid mermaid statue. And we have the Magnifying Lens, which I think it says it reveals items that weren't there before.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's only like one area that's at all relevant.
Yeah, well, we'll be going down to the beach when we get to
there's the Broom Lady.
Oh, the Broom Lady? Okay, from Maid Village?
The woman who was so excited to get a broom from us.
Yeah, whose house was facing the woods and not the street.
Apparently, she made her way to Animal Village and is doing some sweeping for them.
Now, Rich, you have kind of a fun time in this room right here.
I just wanted to explore the cave thoroughly. That's going to be my story.
You go to, right here, and you're just like, oh crap.
Well, I think what you can actually do there is if you have the bow, you can use bomb arrows. Right there. You can equip the bow and the bomb together and blow up that rock.
You can do that in this game?
You can.
I did not know you can even do that in this game.
And then once I got up there, I realized, oh crap, I don't have the bow.
The bow. Well, you could. Well, we actually be buying it, I think, right after this.
I think we do too, yeah. Okay. So I could have waited, but...
like I said, I had no clue you could use bomb arrows.
Yep.
I thought Twilight Princess was the first time that bomb arrows was ever used.
Nope, you equip the bow to B and the bombs to A, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And you can do it. So
they were a lot cooler in Twilight Princess, though.
Oh, well, yeah. I don't think I actually ever used them in this game.
Well, now I want to go back and play and use them.
As far as I know, that's like the only place you really even need them. But I'd like to see how much more damaging that is to enemies, though. I'd be curious.
Bomb arrows, yeah. Well, I mean, we'll begin the Boomerang, which, like I said, we'll talk about, but it's by far the best Boomerang in any Zelda game. And then right here, I love this part. Like, what were you even thinking
I literally walked down there and looked around. I'm like, am I trapped in here?
How do I get out of here?
I honestly had that thought. I'm like, wait.
Oh my god. You start panicking, running around in circles. Hey, oh my god.
It wouldn't be the first time I've panicked in a Zelda game, let's be honest. And it's cost me dearly before.
Yeah.
But, no, I literally, got down there and got the heart piece, and I'm like, I don't know how to get back out of here.
Yeah. Well, sometimes you get confused on those ledges. Like, I do it too sometimes when I'm like, well, I can't jump off there because it's not one of those jumping off ledges.
Yeah.
Ledges, I guess you're thinking.
Yeah, but thankfully I found my way out of the deep dark cave.
Yeah. Now, here's one thing I was thinking today while I was watching this, preparing. Like, I wish Animal Village would have had more houses. Like,
I know.
There really wasn't much to Animal Village. It was just a big old open grassy area.
It really was. There was only the couple of houses around the perimeter.
Yeah. And maybe if animals were running around the middle or something.
Yeah.
But then, which they might have been before Marin got there.
Yeah, that's true.
But now they're all down in the left corner, and then the houses are all in the top right. It's just I don't know. I just feel like it could have been utilized better.
Other than Broom Lady, it doesn't feel like much of a village.
You love Broom Lady.
It just cracks me up. It cracks me up that she talks about sweeping the beach. She talks about now she's an Animal Village.
Sweeping the beach. Who sweeps the beach? It's singing.
But while we're talking about that, we finally had the rupees saved up after Catfish Maw to buy the bow, which we render obsolete here in about a minute.
Yeah. I mean, it's so frustrating because like that's one of the first things you do in this game. Like you go exploring, you see a shop. As soon as you start the game, you're gonna go in there and check it out. And one of the first things you see, a bow for 980 rupees.
Like it's gonna be a long time.
Yeah, it's just like taunting you the whole game.
But we finally have it, and I don't think I even use it after I buy it.
Like I said, I don't remember using it very much in this game.
No. And you kind of brought this up a few minutes ago before we even started recording. Is like I loved in this walkthrough we kind of go all over Koholint Island a little bit, and like coming back to this very beginning area, it felt like it felt cool to come back here
because you don't always get that. Like I mean, I guess a good example is like Twilight Princess. Now we go back in Twilight Princess like to the Sacred Forest to go to like the Temple of Time, but really like we leave at the beginning and we don't return for a long time. And there's just a lot of places in Zelda that once you get done with it, a lot of times you never go back.
You quit, you forget about it. Yeah.
Now here's where the lens. Now we couldn't see this guy without the lens, correct?
Correct. Yeah, okay. I may have accidentally stumbled into this cave earlier in our walkthrough, and it's empty. Yeah. Like I don't even think there's the desk there or his bed.
I don't think it's anything. Because I think the lens is actually the last part of the trade sequence.
Well, actually,
that's what you get. Well, it allows you to get the Boomerang, but the lens is actually the last part.
Yep. Although you have to trade something here to get the Boomerang. And obviously the most worthless item to trade at this point is the shovel. We use it to get a ton of secret seashells earlier. Yeah. And also I think the slime key, maybe? We got one of the keys. One of the keys. And but trading for the Boomerang, I would call a massive upgrade. Yeah.
Well, I mean, we don't really need to get into this particular instance of what I did, but I got to the final boss and tried every single weapon, and I had forgotten to retrade the Boomerang back. And so the Boomerang was back in that cave, and like I tried every single weapon, and the Boomerang was the one I didn't have.
Of course.
On the last boss, and it was the stupidest mistake. I made a lot of dumb mistakes. That was by far the stupidest mistake I've ever made in a Zelda game.
We kind of hinted at this a little bit earlier in this video. The Boomerang is by far the most overpowered weapon. I mean, most games the Boomerang freezes enemies, if that. In this game, it is almost a one-hit kill.
It's so pathetic in so many Zelda games, and it was nice and refreshing. Like even though you played this game a lot earlier than I did, it was nice and refreshing to get that Boomerang and like actually have it do something. Like
it finally packs a little bit of a punch, which it really doesn't in a lot of other Zelda games. But either way, this wraps up part 22 of Link's Awakening.